move through this while people are still finishing up with that. But reminder when submitting your assignments to upload it to GitHub and then paste the link in there.
Mhm.
Catching up via recordings. You got the videos that all linked onto that Notion page. So if you go onto that Notion page, everything will be there. Now, that's just for this. So, right, let's dive into today's session. So today's session was working with APIs. So what we're going to do is we're going to be continuing to build on top of last week's work and previous weeks. We're going to be looking at working with APIs. We're going to fetch wiki summaries, Wikipedia summaries, and we're going to display summary and images. So that is our objectives for today. So what we're going to actually build. So we're going to build so we're going to break it down. And what we need to do is we need to allow the user to retrieve and present a Wikipedia summary. So we're going to ask them for a topic. We're going to ask them to enter a topic they're interested in. We're going to fetch the Wikipedia article for it, summarize a summary of the article, and then we're going to allow the user to find an image that would go along with it. And then we're going to display it out to the user. Just a reminder, you're not expected to memorize everything we cover today. I will be going slightly faster, but obviously you've got the videos to go through it, and we've got a session on Saturday that either myself or someone else will be there to lead out and help you out, of course. And I'm more than happy to stay at the end of the session as well. Right. So I'm just going to explain what an API is first for those who've not heard of what an API is before. So APIs are really, really, really common when you're programming. So if you're working at a place like, let's say you're working for a travel agent, like Expedia, for example, or EasyJet or Love Holidays, they'll be using an API. In almost all circumstances, they'll have their own API, and they'll also be using APIs from the actual flight operators to get the flight information. So what is an API? So an API, or application programming interface, is like a messenger that allows different software programs to talk to each other. It defines how they can communicate and share data, making it easier for developers to use features from other programs without knowing how they work internally. So, for example, let's say I wanted to build a program that um is a weather forecast app, for example. All right. So I want to display the weather information. So what I would do is rather than me having to program um uh like so I want to get the information, so I can get the information from like the Met Office, for example, in the UK, or I guess it differs on location, but wherever you'd get your the official weather information from. So this is where so the Met Office is usually where like the BBC and places will get their weather information. So they'll get their weather information, and the thing is they don't care about how the actual Met Office has gathered their data. They don't care about how they've gone out, done their samples, how they've worked it out, what the stats are behind it. All we need to know is the temperature, right? To display to the user. So what we can do is we just access the Met Office API, and we'd say what I want is the weather, the actual temperature, and there'll be a specific way the API will work in order to access this information, and then it'll be able to pass that information directly into your program without you knowing the ins and outs of how their program works, and they don't need to know the ins and outs of how your program works. So it's just like a little in between to try and access other places of information from other places without actually knowing the ins and outs of it. So is everyone with me so far? It'll make sense when we do an example, but so far with everything I've explained, are you with me?
Yes.
Yep. Thank you, Samia. Awesome. Right. I'm gonna keep going, and then if anyone else is confused, just let me know and I'll talk you through it. Right. So yep, we're not on the final code. Yep. Right. So can you guys just open up Trinket? I'm assuming everyone has the link, but I will send it in one more time into the chat. There you go. That's where we're going to be writing our code. If you know you'd write your code elsewhere, that's absolutely fine. Um, Right. Once you've done that, I'm going to progress. So just give me a thumbs up when everyone's managed to get that all working.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit slow. My computer, the connection suddenly fell. So, go ahead. I can continue.
Okay, perfect. No worries. I'll keep going and then I can explain any bits that you miss or that you're struggling with later. All right.
Thanks.
Right. So the first thing we want to do is we want to import. So Python, natively doesn't have the support. So what we want to do is we want to import it in. It is built into Python 3. It's just we need to import it in. So we want to import requests. And the reason for that is this is how we're going to make the requests to the API. So we're going to make a HTTPS request. All right. And then we're also going to, on the next line, import JSON. All right. And this is to handle the JSON data. So we looked at JSON in week 4 or 5, I believe. So it's just a way of receiving data. We don't need to know the ins and outs of how it works. It's just a way of the data being stored. All right. And we're gonna just be able to, so whenever we make the request, we're gonna receive information in a JSON way. So we want to be able to decipher that information. All right. So we're going to import JSON. So that's what those two things are doing. So to make HTTP requests, we use requests, and then to handle JSON data, we import JSON. Right. What we're going to do after that is we're going to say def get. We're going to make a function that gets the summaries. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to pass in a file topic. All right. So we're going to pass in a topic that we want the information about. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to use the API URL. Okay. So I'm just going to show you how that works. Right. So before we actually use this, what I want to do is I'm just going to show you. Right. So if I just start off, right. If I paste this link in, so this is the API link, all right, to access the API information. So I've got the topic, the summary, and then right at the end, I've got a backslash. You can see here, /, sorry. And now I want to put in a topic. So let's say I want information on dogs. I'd write dogs, I'd press enter, and you can see here, this is the data. So this is a JSON file, all right? So this is the data in JSON. And that's how it looks with the curly brackets. And you've got the type, which is standard, title, which is dog, display title. So this is basically how it is. So you've got here. So if I keep scrolling, actually, so you've got a thumbnail.
Your screen.
Can I, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So you've got a JPEG image here of a dog, of a husky. And then if I keep scrolling, so obviously this is really fiddly and we don't want all of this stuff. But you can see here, there's also a little bit of an extract. So the dog is a domesticated descent of a wolf. Now, if I change this from dog to, let's go with something completely different. Kilimanjaro. Right. So we've got, you can see here, it's got Mount Kilimanjaro. It's got an image. It's got, if I keep scrolling, Mount Kilimanjaro is a dormant volcano in Tanzania with 3 volcanic cores, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so this information is right here because of our API and because of our API link. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you this API link with the backslash. There you go, in the chat. So this is just to save you typing it out. So what we want to do is we want to make an F string that creates this URL, and that's going to put whatever the topic the user enters as the end bit. All right, so the user will enter it in Python, and we want to just attach it on to the end. So after the backslash. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to write URL equals, I'm going to write an F string, open my speech marks, paste it in, and then in curly brackets, I'm going to write at the end, I'm going to write topic, which is the topic we've passed in here. And that's going to be inserted into here because of the curly brackets. Then speech mark at the end. So that's going to do whatever the topic the user enters, which we're going to specify previously, we're going to put it in here, and it will, you can see it will insert it right here. And we need the curly brackets in order to do that. We need the F string in here in order to do that. So that way, what we'll get is we'll get this insert inside Python. All right. So that's quite handy. So shall we do back and forth? Yeah. Okay. Right. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make a request now. So I'm going to say request equals. Right. Sorry, I'm going to say response because we want a response. So we're going to say response equals from the requests library. We're going to use the get function and we're going to put in the URL. So from this library, we're going to get the information. We're going to use that library in order to get the information from the API. Okay, and we're going to store it in what's called response. All right. So when you make a request via an API, you get a code, okay? And you might see some of these codes when you're going on certain websites where you get these status codes. These are like HTML status codes. And I can show you an example. There we go. The most common one you might have seen is error 404 when you go onto a website that doesn't work. So you've got error messages. So 404 means not found, 403 is forbidden, 400 is bad request. Now you've got other ones as well when you make a request. And when you're going on Google and you're clicking on a website, you are making a request. You're requesting that information to come through. So that's why you've seen this before as well. Now, a successful response is what we're looking for. So 200 means okay, everything's fine. So what we want to say is if everything's okay, we know that everything's working perfectly fine. We want to then extract the data. If it doesn't work, we can just say it's failed. Please try again. All right. Right. So on my next line, I'm going to write if response dot status underscore code equals 200. So if it equals 200 on the next line, we know it's all worked perfectly fine. We want to extract the data. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say data equals response dot JSON because we want to get the JSON data. So that is then going to be stored inside data. All right. And now what we want to do is we want to extract just the summary. So from here, in our API, the bit here that we want to extract is we want to extract the summary. So you can see here, extract. Yeah. And there's another one that's called summary somewhere else as well. All right. So we want to extract that bit. So, sorry, it is extract. Sorry. And we want to store it in what's called summary. So I'm going to write summary equals data, and we're going to access it just like we access a list. So I'm going to write square brackets. I'm going to write in my speech marks, extract. So that is the extract bit here. So you can see it's extract. There we go. This is the information, yeah, for our summary, extract. So hence we're going to say summary equals data dot extract. Then what we also want to do is we want to extract the image URL. Okay. Now this bit is slightly more fiddly, so I'm just going to show you the code for it. Right. On the next line, we're going to say image URL equals data dot get. So from data, we're going to use the get again. So from just this JSON, and we want to get the thumbnail, and we want the link from it. All right. So that's why we're using the curly brackets. Then from there, what we're going to do is once we've got the thumbnail link, it was stored within the curly bracket, we're going to get the source. All right. So from there, we're going to get the source, which is the actual file.jpg, the actual file, so you can actually see the image. All right. So that's then going to be the image URL. So we're going to actually get the actual URL from the thumbnail and store it within image URL. So I hope everyone's with me so far. And finally, what we want to do is, because we've got these two things, summary and image URL, we want to return back to the user. So this function's going to return summary, comma, image underscore URL.
Sorry, I don't understand the get thumbnail curly brackets. What are you doing in that function call?
Right. So let me show you here, and I think that'll make it a bit more easier. Right. This is the hard bit, trying to locate the actual bit. Right. Can you see here? Thumbnail.
Yep.
Yep. So within this thumbnail, can you see it follows by a curly bracket, right? So what we're trying to say to here is we want to find the bit that's within the curly brackets,
Oh, okay. That's
which
fine.
is this bit here. Then in there, we want to say we want to get just the source bit, all right? Because we don't care about the brackets and everything else. We want the source information, all right? There's
Okay.
other information like width and height, but we don't really care about the width and height. We just want the source. Okay. Sorry, I should flick back and forth actually to show you exactly what we're extracting. But everything we're extracting is here, yeah, within the JSON file. What I'm gonna do now, while you guys are just finishing writing that up, I'm just gonna let's write the else bit as well. So else, if it doesn't work, what we want to do is, so remember the else needs to be in line with the if. And we're gonna say, so let's say that's not successful. We want to return I'm going to return a nice little message like this. Failed to fetch information. Please try again. Comma, none. Because we don't want to return any actual anything really. So we just want to return none. So we just want to return the actual text. We don't want to return any variable. So it's going to say none for the variable because we've got no variable. We just want to return this bit of text saying failed to fetch information. Please try again. Now, while you guys are just writing that out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this code again with the comments. So if you need an explanation of what each line is doing, that'll be now showing. All right. Again, you don't need to write all of that. All you need to write is everything I've written here. But if you see this, you can see it's commented with what the actual bits are doing. All right. So you can write that in to just help yourself out. Or if there's any bit you don't understand, hopefully that'll make it clear. So I'm just going to pause here for now. And if is everyone with me so far? Does anyone have any questions? Just give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. See another thumbs up as well. Right. So right now, remember, all we've got is the image URL. We don't actually have the image. Okay. So just keep that in mind. We only have the image URL. So eventually we're going to have to write a function in order to get the image from the image URL. Okay. So we've extracted what we need, but we don't really have something visible yet. And today, rather than going back and forth writing, so just continuing everything and getting a response at the end, I'm going to show you, we're going to do it bit by bit. So I want to get the response first to show you guys. So you'd see the summary and then we'll work on the actual image. So you can see what we're doing as we go along. And I think that'll help with questions as well. So hopefully everyone's okay with that. Just give me a thumbs up, guys, when you're done, and I will move on. Yeah. Oh, 2 thumbs up already. Awesome. Later as well. Amazing stuff. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create the main. We're going to come back and create the other function that will do the image a bit later. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create main for now. All right. So what we want to do is we want to print first a welcome message. So we're just going to print welcome to Wikipedia summaries. All right. And then Wikipedia summaries. Right. The first thing we want to do is we want to get a topic. So we need to ask the user, we're going to say topic equals input, and we're going to ask the user to enter a topic they're interested in. Enter a topic want to learn more about. That should get that within topics. So this is all stuff we've done within the first few lessons. All right. So we're just printing a welcome message and we're saying topic equals input, enter a topic you want to learn more about. Now, what we need to do is we want to call this function get Wikipedia summary topic. Now, remember, it should be receiving 2 things. So it returns summary and image URL. So we need to save that here in a variable in order to use that later on. So we want the summary and the image URL. We could do it line by line, but in Python, we can, because we're returning 2 things, we can receive those 2 returns in 1 line really easily. So I'm going to say get underscore Wikipedia underscore summary, open my brackets, and I'm just going to write in the topic, which is what we've entered here. So we're going to say topic. So whatever the user enters now, we're going to pass it in here. We're going to, then that'll become here. We'll get the URL. We'll make the request, and then we'll get the data. The summary and image will be extracted from whatever we've entered like this. Then it will be returned back into here, into a summary and image URL. Okay? Because remember, main is what first runs when you run your program. So then what we're going to do is I'm going to print. So on a new line, I'm just going to print summary. So \n just means go on a new line and print summary, colon. And then on the line after that, I want to print the summary. Sorry. That's just printing the word summary on a new line, and then we're going to print summary after that. Okay. Now, we're just going to run this so far just to see if this works. So what? Remember, our the way we call main is we say if name equals main. And that's how we run main. Now, let's give it a test. Right, welcome to Wikipedia summaries. Enter a topic you want to learn more about. France. You can see here. Summary. France, officially the French Republic, is a country located primarily in the Western Europe. It also includes, etc., 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 all the way. If I run it again. Let's go something really rogue. Pythagoras. Yep, you can see here it generates that information, and that's being pulled straight from Wikipedia. I know it's not the best source of information, but it's just an API that's free and doesn't require an API key for us to access. So this is this bit here. And what I'm going to do again, I'm going to now just change the main bit so it has comments within it so you understand what each bit does. But I'm pretty sure you guys know what you're doing there anyway. But I'm just going to write the comments in so it helps you out. Printing a welcome message, prompting the user to enter a topic they want to learn about, calling the function, printing the summary text. All right, just give me a thumbs up, guys, if that's working for you and you managed to get all the information. Or if you've got an error or anything, just let me know as well, and we can try and debug that.
I think my error handling is not correct.
Do you want me to have a look? Can you send me a link, Anthony? I'll have a look.
Yeah, sure. It works fine. It's just when I enter something invalid.
It doesn't work. It doesn't handle it properly. Okay,
That's right.
right. Send that through to me and we'll have a look together.
Sure.
We'll have a look at Anthony's code, guys, together. We'll see what's enter a topic. Okay. Ah, yeah, it's because you've got not a capital letter here.
Ah,
I think that's it. I think everything else is fine. I think it's just because you don't have a capital letter there.
okay, yes. It's working now. Thank you.
No worries. Samia sent me some code as well, so let's have a look at that. Okay, so where are we? So here you need to change to status. And then you also status, yeah. Where are you using request? Yeah, requests dot get URL. So you need an S there. Let's try. Okay, so it's fine. Failed to fetch information. Okay. What about dogs? Yeah, okay, cool. So that's working fine. All right, Samia. So it was just a status code you need to change the spelling of, and then it's requests on line 8. You need an S.
Yeah. Thank you.
No worries. Right. So I've got Ingrid, explain line 28 and 29 again. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
but that's where I'm getting an error. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Okay, so here we're returning 2 things. So from Wikipedia summary, when we're using this function, we know 2 things are going to be pushed out back to us if everything's successful. We're going to push out a summary, which is the information here, and we're going to push out an image URL. That's the URL of the image that we're going to use. Now here, what we're doing is when we're calling the function, so we're going to call the function in order to use it with the topic, we want to store whatever's being pushed out here. Okay, so that's what that line is doing. So what error are you getting?
I'm just going to send you the
Yeah, sure.
send you the thing.
Of course.
Oops. It auto capitalizes. Oh, sorry. I just sent it, yeah.
Perfect. Oh, you're on I think line 38 is what's going wrong, and it's just the indent. It needs to be right against the thing, and you need to leave a space. So it's if space name equals main. And then there's the spelling of requests here. There you go. So spelling of requests here, and this needs to be right along the end, needs a space here, and then if name equals main, all right? And hopefully that fixes that for you.
Yeah, it works. Thanks.
No worries. Right, everyone else okay? So everyone's, is everything working now for everyone? Give me a thumbs up if that's all good for you. And then we're going to work on the image now. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, so I'm just going to show you so that if I print image URL, because obviously we've got the image URL, I'm just going to show you what we get. So right now we get, if I enter, oh, we've got no URL. Okay, right, that's great. We need to find one that has a URL. Let's go with dogs. Yeah, you can see here, HTTPS, you've got blah, 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 blah. Now, if I go to this URL, got a picture of the dogs here, all right? So it's already half working, but what we want to do is we want to kind of print the image out here, all right? So what we want to do is we want to create a new function called save image from URL. So above main here, I'm going to create another function. So I'm going to say save image from URL, a very aptly named function, and we're going to pass in the image URL, right? Because that's what we've got, and we want to then get the information. Right. Okay. Right. So what we want to do is first we want to again, so similar to making a request here with the URL, we want to again make another request with the URL. So oops. Right, so I'm going to say, oh sorry, this is also double indented. So it's just going to bug me. There we go. No, that should be fine now. Right. So what we want to do is we want to make a response. So we're going to say again here, similar to before, we're going to say response equals requests. But this time, obviously, we're not using the Wikipedia article. We're going to use this link here. So we're going to say response.get. And we're going to say image underscore URL because that's what we're using. And now we're going to say, similar to before, if response equals requests dot get. Sorry, sorry, my bad. If response dot status code equals 200, which means it's successful. Right, here's where things change. Right, so obviously we've not got data we want to retrieve. We've got a file we want to retrieve, all right? We've got actual information. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a blank file to save the information to. So we're going to dump the content in a blank file. So this is similar to our making a TXT file. So we're going to say with open file name, and the write mode is WB. If you're confused on any of this bit, this is all our text file lessons. So go back and watch that lesson and I explain it a bit more. So we're going to create basically a binary file. So we're writing WB stands for writing a binary file as F. I'm going to say F dot write because we're going to write to the file, and we're going to say response. And before it was response.json, right? But this time we don't want JSON. We want the actual data within the file. So we're just going to say response.data, all right? Because it's an image. Sorry, not data, .content.
I think there might be a spelling error on 26.
Oh, yes. Thank you. There. Oh, goodness. There we go. Response.content. So we're going to create a binary file and we're going to dump the content within it. And if that works, we're going to print a message. So remember, I'm going to go back in line with the with, and I'm going to say print. Just create an F string. Image saved successfully as, and then I'm just going to print the file name out. All right. For the user. So image saved successfully as, so they know that an image has been saved. And then just to finish that off, this bit's relatively easy. We're just gonna, so else if the response wasn't thing, we're just gonna print. So in this one, we're not returning anything. We're just gonna print the message. Yeah, we're just gonna print.
Sorry, where's the file name variable from?
So we're creating this. We're creating a blank file.
Oh,
Or-
okay.
Yep. So we're creating a blank file, and then
But what is it called?
okay. So if when we call the function, we're gonna specify this. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're going to specify this when we call it. Oh, sorry, we need to pass that in actually. My bad. That
Yes.
would make more sense for us to pass that in as well. So we're going to pass in a file name at the top. Okay. So that will be what we pass in. So when we call the function, we're going to pass it in. So we're going to do that within main, but we do need to pass it in. So good spot there by Anthony. I missed that. Right. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change everything I've written so far to include comments. So this is all what you need to write, but I'm just going to update it so it has comments. So then you can just change. And if you do want to just run it and you just want to see if everything's working, again, nothing's going to happen now, but if everything's normal, it means nothing and no errors are going to occur, which is a good thing. Can only be a good thing. And that's all for this function. Yeah, so that's all for this function. And the reason why we're going to specify the file name in main is we know what the topic the user entered is, right? Because they've entered it within topic. So what we're going to do is we're going to just use that to create a file name. So let's say they've entered dogs, we're going to call it dogs.jpg. Let's say they've entered iPhone, we're going to say iphone.jpg. That way the user's got a file that is actually relevant rather than something completely random that we're not going to understand what the file is, or like image or something. Is anyone confused with anything I've written so far that wants me to just go over anything? I'd be quite happy to. There you go. Seems everyone's okay with everything. Just double check your spellings of requests and responses. I've made quite a few myself. That's what seems to trip us up. And just give me a thumbs up if you're okay for me to move on and do the next bit. So just giving me a thumbs up. I'll give it another minute or two for everyone else.
I've got an error. I'm sure I just typed something wrong.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, do you want to send it to me? I can have a
Yeah,
look.
sorry, yeah.
No, that's all right. All good. Okay, just bear with me 1 second. It's just because you're missing a speech mark at the end.
Oh, always small things, isn't it? Where's that was online 42.
And then there's something else missing here as well. Oh, okay, so this, you don't need a bracket here. You need to get rid of this bracket. So it's with space with open file name as F.
Okay.
Line 28, there's an error. Save image from URL, and there's a colon missing at the end here.
28.
At the end of that line. If response status code on line 32, you'll need 2 equals as well because we're comparing. And then I think we're good.
I think I missed. Yeah, okay, that's good. Thank you. Sorry.
No worries. That's fine.
Went so fast. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
Typing.
Right. So I'm just gonna move on to the next bit now. Okay. So printed summary. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say if there's an image URL, so we want to check if there is an image URL first, which of course there is going to be. So, most of the time there is. If not, we don't want to bother doing that bit. So we're just going to say if image URL. Remember, that just means if there is an image URL. So it just checks rather than saying equals true or whatever. It's just easier to just say that, and that'll check it for you. All right, if there is one there. What we want to now do is we want the file name. So we're going to create a file name, and we're going to create it based on the topic the user's entered. Right, so to help us with this, we're going to use an F string, okay? So we're going to say F, open my speech marks. Right. So what we want to do is we want to insert a variable in. So we're going to create two open close. And what we're going to do is we would write topic, and then we're going to write .jpg at the end. So whatever the user enters, we'd have dog.jpg, iPhone.jpg. Now, the slight issue with this is that it won't work well when the user's entered 2 words. So let's say the user enters Apple iPhone. Now they're 2 separate words, and a file name can't have a space in between. When you make a file on your laptop, for example, you can't have a space in between, right? What we want to do is we want to keep that all together. Well, some operating systems allow you to do it, some don't. So what we want to do, just to make it universal, is we want to replace any spaces the user has with an underscore. So what we can do is we can use string manipulation. So to topic, what we want to do is we want to write topic dot, and we're going to say replace. So we're going to say dot replace, open my brackets, normal brackets, and close my brackets. Within here, I'm going to say open my speech marks. One speech mark, because we use 2 here, we need to use 1 here in order to differentiate it. And we're going to replace any spaces. So we just add a space in between the speech marks, comma. We're going to replace it with, again, in speech marks, an underscore. So whatever topic is, if there's no spaces, it's just going to not do anything. We're just going to keep it as it is. If there are any spaces, it's going to replace it with an underscore. All right. And that's in order to make the file name not have spaces in between it. Okay. Just in case, so it doesn't throw any errors out at us. So what we want to do is we want to call the function save image from URL with the image URL, which we already have, which we've got from the previous function here. And then now we want to call it here with the image URL and the file name, which we've just generated here. All right, simple as that. And else, if there's none, we're going to say print on a new line. I'm just going to say no image found. No, I'm just going to run this. So if I enter dogs, .jpg. Okay, what have I done here? Oh, yeah, my bad. So sorry, this should all be within speech marks, right? Because that's the entire file name, right? Image saved as dogs, and you can see here, I've got dogs out here. Oh, there's no image found for an iPhone, unfortunately. What should we go with? Here we go. Saved as Vietnam. Got the Vietnam flag. Cheese. Oh, failed to fetch the image. Yeah, again, you can just keep trying it out with topics until the image comes. Cherries. Oh, no. Cats. Yep, we've got cats. What you can see here is you've got the summary and you've got an image, and you've got a really good successful image bit here. So again, final thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace what I've just written with the comments as well. So you've got it commented, this section. There we go. So there you go. So we managed to get a Wikipedia summary, and we managed to create an image file that goes with it. All right, when an image file is available, all through an API. So that is the good. So I'm just going to leave that there for you. Right, we've got Anthony giving me a thumbs up. Awesome. Everyone else, how are we doing? Again, any errors, just let me know. Saja, thumbs up as well. Awesome. Layla's dropped out. Hope everything's okay. If anyone's got any questions, let me
Yeah,
know.
I've got, so what happened is it had said image saved successfully, but I didn't get an image.
Okay, are you using Trinket or are you using a different?
I'm using Trinket.
Oh, okay. Can you share me your code with me, please? And then I'll have a look.
I mean, it does it for, so for the first thing I did, it did have one. For the second thing I did, it didn't. So I'm just wondering if there's no image, is that the response that comes back?
If there's no image, it should say no image available for this
Oh,
topic.
okay.
No image saved. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I should just give you the code.
And then can you tell me what you typed in?
Oh, I'll type it to you because it's a bit. Yeah, I'll just type it.
Okay.
It's quote unquote personal, but not. I mean, just not too sure.
I just want to. Yeah, I just want to. I'll type it out on mine. No worries.
Yeah, you won't share it with the group, no?
Yeah, I'm quite. It's up to you. Either way.
I'd rather you. Okay, okay. I can give you a different example.
I'll keep it paused so that no one else can see. That's fine.
That's perfect. Thank
And
you.
I'll just test it. Yeah.
Do you use swear words in your comments?
It's just I'm shy. What can I say?
Okay. Sure. Right. For me, it's working.
And you get a picture.
And I get a picture. It just might be your internet connection. It just might be taking a while.
Okay.
I'm definitely getting a picture.
I got failed to fetch image. I put down apple pie. It doesn't have an image of an apple pie. Yeah, maybe it's my speed or something.
Oh no, I've got no image for apple pie either. It's just sometimes it doesn't have an image attached to it that we can access. Or the API stored it in a different way, which is another thing that can happen. But yeah, your code is working absolutely fine. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just sometimes it's buggy. Because remember, anything with the API, it's not in our control. So that code is running on their server. So if any errors were to occur on their side, we don't have any control over that. We just have to take that at face value, which is why we do a lot of error handling in this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks.
No worries. Right, so that is everything I have for today. Let's go back to, right, final code. So just a reminder, this is how we write and store our code. So you create a new repo. You should already have a repo, but just make sure you add your code into here, upload an existing file, quick changes, and then make sure you send that through. So this week's assessment. So week 8 assignment is a Wikipedia article to text file. So right now you've created the bit so this week's homework is a lot shorter, hopefully. So you've already created the article. What we want to do is we want you to store the article now as a text file. So this should just be a matter of combining a lot of what we've done today with the TXT file lesson. if you need additional help, but the actual code for writing a file is the same as the image bit. So just a little bit of tweaks there, and you should be able to store the summary within a text file. Again, you don't need to store the image within the text file because that's not going to work. You just need to store the text within the text file. So the summary, okay? Within a text file, and then you've already got the image. So that is pretty much it. And then you can upload that onto your Git. So has anyone got any questions about either the assignments or about what we've done today or anything like that? I'm gonna catch that isn't on a Sunday, Saturday. Sure. I'm quite happy to stay behind today if you need any help. But in terms of any other sessions after that, I'll need to ask the team whether anything can be scheduled. I'm not in charge of the schedules, unfortunately. But if you're happy to stay today, that's
Okay.
I can stay as long as you need, but I can go through all the stuff.
Okay, so why don't we do that? It's a silly old thing, and yeah, but
Oh,
yeah.
That's fine. I'm quite happy to stay here. Anyone who doesn't have any questions, by the way, the drop-in sessions are on Saturday. If you do want to come and ask then, that's absolutely fine. And of course you can ask on the community. But yeah, that is everything that I'm going to be teaching today. So I'll end that there. So if you do need to leave now, that's absolutely fine. We've covered everything. If you do want to stay and ask questions, that's fine. And Ingrid, I'll go through your stuff.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time. Thanks. Goodbye.
Take care. Bye, guys.